All over the world, species clash in nature's savage battle of survival. On the rolling savanna, the heights of the Andes, and the rivers of Australia, all are locked in deadly conflict. Animals fight tooth and claw to win food, territory, and rights to the bloodline. From the jungles of Africa to the Canadian outback, there are no rules. This is Animal Fight Night. Some animals don't share their space. They avoid a mutually assured destruction. In the seas off northern Australia, one such predator prowls. It's not a great white shark or a killer whale. It's the largest reptile on the planet. Covered in tough scales, the armor-suited saltwater crocodile fears nothing. The hyper-carnivorous killer has the strongest bite in the animal kingdom. Escaping from the clutches of his 3-inch teeth would be the equivalent of bench pressing a pickup truck. He's the most aggressive of all the crocodiles. In the ocean, keeping to himself is easier. Specialized salt glands in the tongue excrete excess salt without dehydrating the croc, so he can spend weeks in the open reaches. But when he comes inshore to breed, competition brings out his killer instincts. On Australia's East Alligator River, one huge croc guards his favorite spot, like an armored knight at his castle gates. It's the perfect perch for attracting a female's roving eye. A cruising croc thinks he's king of the castle and wants the plot for himself, which means getting medieval on the occupier. The king goes low, but the resident knight goes high. Lifting his head means gravity gives his downward strike more force. Matching bites apply intense pressure around the neck. Rows of raised scales cover the length of the king's back. They're his heavy armor. Inside, plates of hard bone, called osteoderms, help prevent penetration, even from the most powerful bite in nature. But saltwater crocs have no bony reinforcements on the underside of their neck and limbs. And protruding legs are an easy target for a well-placed bite. The king snaps. He's locked in stalemate. The knight changes tactics and takes the battle below water. A sudden jerk threatens amputation. It's too much for the king croc, and he flees. Seen off by the knight of the East Alligator River. Not all animals seek solitude. Some prefer to team up and create an army. But when two tribes go to war, Keeping together can be the key to survival. Despite their slender frame, African wild dogs are some of the deadliest predators on the continent. In packs of up to 40 strong, they target prey twice their size and kill 4 out of 5. They run down their victims and eat them alive. But get separated from the pack, and you risk being left behind. Fights between related packs are rare. But if strangers arrive and threaten the local food supply, it can spark a turf war. These intruders know they're in hostile territory. A 3-dog vanguard keeps tight formation. One breaks ranks and heads straight into an ambush. The home pack charges in at up to 44 miles per hour. The tactic: scatter the intruders, then pick them off one by one. An isolated intruder makes a break for it. But runs into an unexpected water hazard. Five sets of jaws pin him down like prey. 3 dogs target the head. Pound for pound, an African wild dog's bite is stronger than any other canine on the plains. But even upside down, he can snap back until a local disarms him with a lunge to the neck. Well-developed temporalis and masseter muscles apply nearly twice the pressure of a human bite. The move prevents the straggler bending his neck to deliver a bite. 42 teeth wrap around his throat. 1-inch canines threaten his jugular. The dog is in the grip of death. But the hound on head duty loses focus and lets go. The intruder's jaws are back in play. But once again, the terrain slows him down, and the mob moves in for the kill. With the intruder dealt with, the pack seeks other targets. This dog has had his day, and the local scavengers won't have long to wait. Being the biggest puts you at the top, but staying at the top can be your undoing. It's high summer in Yellowstone. Breeding season for America's largest land animal, the bison. This standout hunk of beef is a bull in his prime. Right now, his testosterone levels are doubling. The sex hormone is a natural steroid that keeps him sexually charged and at peak performance. A power-packed 1-ton titan. It takes a beast of a heart to keep Beefy pumped up. The average bison heart is nearly 8 times the size of an adult human's and can move an incredible amount of blood around the body. And it's not just any blood. The bison's testicles are in overdrive, creating huge quantities of testosterone, which increases muscle mass and aggression. When he fights, the release of adrenaline from the adrenal gland sends more oxygen to those pumped up muscles. And it's this hormone cocktail that gives the bison the boost he needs to fight off his rivals. It makes him the ultimate fight night heavyweight contender. The females are ready to mate. And Beefy wants the ladies to himself. But a gathering of rival suitors presents a clear and present danger. His growl is a warning. All through the season, big-hearted Beefy takes down his love rivals. Each victory prolongs his time at the top, but the physical cost is brutal. After weeks of heart-pounding action, one last love rival is defiantly seductive. It's a red rag to the angry bull. A male bison will stop at nothing to maintain its dominant position. A downhill charge makes the most of his weight advantage. His massive 75-pound head smashes into his opponent like being hit by a family car. The love rival braces and pushes back. Brute force won't cut it. Beefy brings out the heavy artillery. The horns. Beefy uppercuts. It rips through fur, but not flesh. Head to head, they're evenly matched. So Beefy needs a new tactic. A broadside lifts the Lothario off his feet and out of contention. But a season's victories catch up with him. Battered and bruised, he'll be no match for the next contender, and he retires from the fight game. Even so, he has ensured his legacy. His work is done. Hunger is a powerful drive, but it can lead to a predator taking on prey out of its league. This is wolf country. But the wooded shoreline of Canada's Lake Achigan is also home to a North American giant, the moose. Armed with broad 40-pound antlers, a bull moose is a hard target, even for a wolf pack. But a smaller moose cow could be a very tasty dish. A pack works together on large prey, tearing at flesh on the rear and flanks. The result, worn out, wounded wolf chow. A moose cow feeds in the lake to build up reserves for winter. Moose are the only member of the deer family that regularly feed on aquatic vegetation. They can even dive, remaining submerged for over a minute. A few yards offshore, the lake also offers safety from any passing pack. Her massive 6-inch hooves make excellent paddles. She can swim at 6 miles per hour. At around 6 times the weight and almost 3 times the height of a wolf, she doesn't fear a solo attack. A lone hunter disagrees. This solo wolf has left his birth pack to find a partner and start his own bloodline. He's not the type to look a gift moose in the mouth. But this maverick moose is as cool as ice. She stands her ground to protect her rear and flanks, then attacks with huge pointed hooves. A clean shot could kill. But she overshoots. The wily wolf cuts inside. A snap to the sinews makes her spin and leaves her body open. His teeth sink into the triceps at the top of the forelimb. The muscle is vital for walking and swimming. A severe wound would make her lame, unable to escape. Backward-pointing canines lock in place, bringing 410 pounds per square inch of jaw pressure into play, tearing through the muscle. Her attacker hangs on. And shears through the tough muscle. But the maverick has a trick up her sleeve. She finds deeper water and sinks to her knees to submerge her opponent. If the wolf gets trapped beneath her, he'll drown. She's a moose on the loose once again. This ambitious go-getter was ultimately out of his depth. You become the head honcho for a reason. Finding out why can be deadly. Some animals command respect. This adult male tiger is in his prime, and he knows it. His stats say it all. His bite generates up to 520 pounds of pressure. He's armed with long, razor-sharp, retractable claws. And a swipe so powerful, it can smash a skull. He'll defend his territory against all intruders. And this one is believed to have killed other males that he's discovered on his turf. 550 pounds of claw and muscle. But every generation brings a kid with attitude. The youngster makes himself at home on the big guy's turf. When he hears the dominant male, it's too late to run. Local rangers suspect that this 200-pound heavier male killed 2 of the younger tiger's siblings. Now, he faces the same fate. Tigers are solitary creatures. Finding another male on their territory will not be tolerated. With no chance of escape, there's only one option left for the smaller tiger. Total capitulation. The larger cat circles to intimidate and assert dominance. The crouching posture is submissive. For the dominant male, it's not enough. The younger male tries to push off the angry killer. Big mistake. On his back, the odds are stacked against him. The big guy brings his key weapon into play. His deadly 520-pound bite. Outgunned and out of position, there's no chance of escape. In any fight between two killing machines, there's a risk of a costly injury, even in victory. And you don't stay at the top by taking dangerous risks. He's demonstrated his dominance and neutralized the young male. For now. Among male zebra, the right to breed has to be won. Adolescent males fight among themselves to establish status, unaware they're being watched by a seasoned pro. On the African plain, a new generation of zebra emerges. They can normally walk 15 minutes after birth, run within an hour. And they need to, as the savannah is filled with dangers. By the age of 4, the feisty male survivors face a new challenge: breeding. But first, they need to prove themselves among their peers. They battle other bachelors for the right to challenge a stallion for his harem. They don't have horns or claws, or a battering ram head. But 4 years of running from predators has given them hind legs so powerful, their kick can kill. During the breeding season, the grasslands become a battleground for would-be champions. Bites and gouges are standard. Anything goes. Even below the belt is up for grabs. A hard bite to the lower leg tendons could cripple. This challenger specializes in hair pulling. A mouthful of mane sees off his competitor. In fight after fight, would-be contenders leave it all on the plain. But when a dominant stallion decides on a preemptive strike, it suddenly gets a lot more dangerous. He has a harem to protect and wants to assert his dominance over any would-be challenger. And with everything to lose, he won't hold back. He goes airborne to coil and fire. With twice the impact of a heavyweight boxer's punch, it stuns his opponent into defeat. He follows up with a final sneak attack to see off the young bachelor. Point proven, he'll return to his harem, safe in the knowledge that he's still the top stallion. easier a kill, the less energy predators need to waste. But get the strike wrong, and wasting energy will be the least of their worries. It's a hard life being a warthog. To survive, they need to grow up fast. An abandoned burrow gives this mother a refuge for her young family. Piglets start out defenseless. But as they grow, their tusks develop, making them a much harder meal ticket. These tuskers can turn on predators and charge at 34 miles per hour. Warthogs aren't worried about not being beautiful. Their problem is they're delicious. Leopards find them lip-smacking. These big cats are skilled ambush predators. They kill with a bite to the neck. But in challenging conditions, their kill rate can be as little as 1 in 20. They'll often target small game, or even scavenge. Anything to survive. This hungry young male needs to eat every 3 days. A baby hog would be ideal. He sees their burrow, adopts pounce position, and waits. When the dust settles, it's not a defenseless piglet. It's an older, angrier, and heavily armed tusker. She could kill this cat. The confused big cat fluffs the kill shot. The young hog was in his reach. But at the last second, an older hog dashes out from behind and blocks the path of the hunter. Instead of a piglet, his teeth find a determined tusker. He's bitten on more than he can chew. His 1.3-inch canines can't contain her. He clamps down with his paw. But this hog won't go quietly. The porky powder keg hauls her attacker in a bid for freedom. The leopard counters with a head throw. But it brings her tusks into play. A gash to the throat could kill. He needs to get this hog on her back. He gambles. Shifts his jaw hold. And piggybacks his prey. He's now open to an upward tusk thrust, but he uses his 100-pound body weight to flip her over, belly up. It's the killer move. The leopard hoped for an easy meal, but ended up with the fight of his life. Even predators need to watch their backs, because catching and keeping are two different things. 130 feet above the water. An osprey scans for prey. He spots movement. He hits the water at 44 miles an hour. Armed with perfect feet for fishing, 2 digits facing forwards, 1 backwards, and 1 that can change orientation. His talons snap shut in 0.02 of a second, roughly 12 times faster than a human blink. An impressive catch, which hasn't gone unnoticed. A great black-backed gull, the largest of all gulls, watches from the shore. An opportunistic predator and scavenger. There's little it won't eat. Its main weapon is its curved bill, which it uses to stab, smash, and tear. And it's not above a little piracy. The gull lines up an interception course and attacks. At the last second, the bird of prey takes evasive action. The gull's persistency is more than a match for the osprey's maneuverability. And the gull knows it. Gulls are excellent fishers. And ruthless pirates. The osprey's faster than the gull, but weighed down by his fishy cargo, he can't escape. The pirate changes tactics. It goes high to dive bomb its target. The osprey tires. The gull moves in for the kill. The bird of prey tries to shake him, but the pirate is ready for him and grabs his wing. Outgunned and exhausted, he drops his catch. And to the victor go the spoils. South America, the Andes. Vicuñas live at a high altitude, but when they fight, they sink to the lowest depths. This dominant male vicuña never lets his harem of females stray far. He has 3 jobs: keep his family safe, well-fed, and father as many offspring as he can. But this is bandit country, full of rivals. This young upstart is ready to steal himself a family, but only if he can get past the current head of the family, who has a nasty trick up his sleeve. He strikes low and fast to cripple an opponent where it counts most, the family jewels, saving his clan and seeing off a rival. The frustrated bachelors hang out in large herds. They hone their combat skills, getting ready to challenge for a family. It's the Vicuña equivalent of boot camp. Training is continuous and compulsory. These two males are evenly matched. They both weigh around 110 pounds. Their tactic of choice, headbutting and biting. Always looking for an opportunity to get at the soft underbelly or genitals. Suddenly, one of the Vicuñas changes tactics and pile drives his opponent. It's a risky move that leaves him open. His opponent seizes the chance with a canine crunch. Back on the ground, he exposes his principal assets. Lose them, and no Lady Vicuña will give him a second look. He's lost, but he's learned, and can still be a contender. On the African savannah, titanic life and death dramas play out in plain view. But hidden in the continent's rainforests, the conflict takes a more sinister turn. There are 10,000 millipede species in the world, but the biggest of them all is the giant African millipede, who comes armed with a secret chemical weapon. He's the articulated juggernaut of the forest floor. He reaches up to 12 inches long. Upwards of 60 pairs of legs slip his slinky frame through the undergrowth to dine on rotting vegetation. He's flexible, but tough. Calcified layers of chitin form a hard protective exoskeleton. It's the same chemical that creates lobster shells. Heavily segmented, he can curl tight to create a shield against attack. But he's also got a secret deterrent he can use in an emergency. Each segment of the millipede has hidden repugnatorial glands. When provoked, these secrete his own personal chemical weapon, a foul-smelling noxious liquid that can repel predators. This dark-shelled giant is mostly nocturnal. Foraging in daylight makes him easy to spot. And he's caught the compound eye of a hopeful assassin bug. He too is equipped for chemical warfare. Giant African millipedes are the largest of their kind. But for the assassin bug, size isn't the problem. It's the giant's armor. The millipede tries evasive maneuvers. His shiny shell helps him slip free, but the bug is relentless. He seems immune to the millipede's chemical defense and hunts for a weak spot on the millipede's underbelly. His curved clawed tarsus is sharp enough to grip onto the smooth, round surface, while a specially adapted proboscis searches for an entry point in the region of the millipede's legs. He then injects his own chemical weapons, paralyzing toxins and digestive enzymes that begin to dissolve the millipede's innards. The millipede curls tight. But it's too late. The process is irreversible. This millipede assassin bug lives up to his name and turns his adversary into one long liquid lunch. Males can fight tough, but when females go to war, the killer claws come out. Dinosaurs still walk among us, or at least cassowaries make it easy to believe. These flightless forest birds are the second heaviest and third largest on the planet. They sport a bony keratin-covered ridge, up to 7 inches high, called a casque. Much like crested dinosaurs. Even their key weapon seems prehistoric. Each foot has a killer claw on the inner toe, which can grow over 4 inches. Like a dagger, an accurate strike can kill a human. We don't know who ruled the roost among the dinosaurs. But with cassowaries, it's the females. Females can be twice as large as the male and fiercely independent. It's the male who builds the nest, incubates the eggs, and raises the chicks, while the female finds other males for mating and dominating. This bone-headed bruiser keeps a beady eye out for rivals. If these angry birds cross paths, it's fireworks. In a park in northern Australia, a sassy cassowary emerges and mounts a charge. It's an epic fail. Compared to the forest floor, a smooth tarmac path is like ice beneath her clawed feet. Her rival sees her chance. But the incomer extends her dagger claw and stabs at her opponent's breast. 2 of the cassowary's toes have a keratin tip sitting at the top, but it's the 3rd digit that is the key weapon. It has a unique killer claw made of bone that is sheathed completely in keratin, making it extremely strong. Incredibly sharp, a well-placed hit will penetrate the skin and dig deep into the flesh, potentially hitting vital organs. But even a miss can be deadly. The downward stabbing motion of the leg can rip huge gashes in any adversary. The home bird retreats. Another slash by the invader brings her down. But she stumbles at the last second before she can push home her advantage, giving the home bird the chance to flee. But if they meet again, she'll be a much more wary cassowary. All over the world, species clash in nature's savage battle of survival. On land, under the sea, and in the air. All are locked in deadly conflict. Animals fight tooth and claw to win food, territory, and rights to the bloodline. From the African savanna to the wilds of North America, there are no rules. This is Animal Fight Night. The savanna is always dangerous. Every tree or bush might conceal an ambush. But for many of the hunted, the biggest danger is not a surprise attack, but a relentless killing machine. The African hunting dog. Pound for pound, these wild dogs have the strongest bite on the African plains. Their success comes down to teamwork. They're tireless hunters. Once these guys are on your tail, you're done. Today, the wild dogs chase down an impala. But just because you make the kill doesn't mean you get to eat it. On the savannah, there are no rules. At least not for the spotted hyena. Africa's second largest carnivore, with a bite that can crack bone. They're opportunistic thieves who'll think nothing of stealing someone else's dinner. This lone hyena thinks he can steal this meal right from under the wild dog's noses. He wants the kill and isn't afraid to go for it. But he has a weakness. He keeps his butt on the ground to protect the crown jewels. It doesn't work. The dogs chase him off. Plan B, call a buddy. One will be the getaway driver. The other will guard the rear. It's an audacious heist and pays off. Working together, the hyenas fight off the dogs. The hyena is powerfully built, with a long neck, sloping back, and strong forequarters. A perfect physique supports its forceful jaws. But then the hyena gets greedy. He goes back for more by himself. But he bites off more than he can chew. The dogs take back a chunk of the kill. Now they want the rest. But as long as the hyenas face outwards, and they keep their vulnerable rear ends protected, they can hold off the dogs. But these dogs have a plan. They hassle the hyenas and split them. Now, hyena is on the menu. One of them calls it quits, leaving the other hyena knee-deep in wild dogs. He wants to run, but with dogs hanging off him, he can't. They taste blood and want to finish the job. escapes with his life. But his prospects are not good. He's badly injured. This is a victory for teamwork. The most dangerous game animal in Africa, the Cape buffalo, aka the Widowmaker. When provoked, they trample and gore 200 people to death each year, 4 times stronger than an ox. This ton of beefed up muscle can charge at 30 miles an hour. Their curved horns, more than 3 feet across, are a deadly weapon. Between them, an impenetrable bone shield called the Boss. It's so hard, it can deflect a bullet. In the breeding season, the sound of clashing bosses can be heard over half a mile away. Only one can win. The loser will either be dead or so badly injured, he's walking lion meat. The current head of the herd is the older, darker bull. The lighter, browner bull is younger, greener, but just as determined. The older bull aims for the vulnerable neck and lifts the youngster clean off the ground. That's almost a ton. The teenager recovers and fends off the horns. The older bull is using every ounce of his strength to yank the youngster's head up with a force that can twist the bull bars on a pickup, hoping to get a clean shot at the youngster's neck. Again, the challenger saves his skin by getting his head down. It's round 1 to the old bruiser. Round 2. The youngster comes out swinging. He turns his older opponent, aiming for his vulnerable flank. The young gun lands a horn into his rival's chest. Then the youngster gets in another shot. It's a bullseye. With 2 serious blows, the youngster wins this round by a mile. Round 3 will be the decider. The old bull is tiring and injured. He needs a KO. Bam! A horn in the top of his opponent's neck. The youngster's badly hurt. He's had enough. The champ keeps his title. In nature's brutal fight for survival, one false move can be the difference between death and life. Every year, thousands of zebras migrate, traveling up to a staggering 300 miles in search of better grazing pasture. It's a dangerous journey, and many won't make it. On the way, they need water. This herd of zebra finds what looks like a safe spot for a drink. Danger can lurk anywhere. Zebras can run up to 35 miles per hour, the same as lions. But zebras have stamina. If the zebras reach the plains, they should be home free. But one fully grown stallion doesn't make it. The lioness has the zebra in a terrifying hold. Retractable 1.5-inch claws give a vice-like grip, almost impossible to loosen. But as long as the zebra stays upright, he has a slim chance. The lioness is trying to suffocate the zebra, applying close to 400 pounds of bite force to sever vital arteries and crush the windpipe. Injuries that could prove fatal. But this zebra can last for 5 minutes without breathing. A fully grown lioness is strangling this zebra. But the zebra is showing what he's made of. He uses his half-ton bulk to crush the lioness. And he has another weapon. He bites with spade-like teeth aimed at the soft underbelly. Male zebras are supreme fighters. Pointed canine teeth stick up and are used to attack other stallions. The teeth are sharpened through grooming and fighting, and can tear through skin and muscle, with a force similar to a nutcracker cracking a nut. The bites hurt the lioness so much, she loses her stranglehold. It's enough. The zebra breaks off. This is one zebra who has earned his stripes. And this lioness may have to wait for days for another meal that big. A chance for a big kill is too precious to pass up. But you may have to fight tooth and claw to keep your paws on it. It's early spring in Alaska. Two of the top predators in North America are about to come face to face. These two wolves feast on an 1,800-pound moose. News of a big kill travels fast. This young brown bear has just woken up from 5 months of winter sleep. He needs to fatten up, and he's not up for sharing. His message is clear: back off. The bear's back and torso is an incredible concentration of muscle, which delivers enormous power to his forelimbs. At the end of his front paws, he has deadly claws which could decapitate a wolf. Two wolves don't have good odds against a hungry bear. But wolves have an incredible 280 million smell receptors, around 50 times more than a human. A wolf can smell the moose from over a mile away. And it's not long before every wolf in the area is on the case. The bear backs off. Now he tries to sneak back. He takes his seat at the table, but he's a nervous guest. And with good reason. The wolves who now outnumber him could turn him into a second course. It's wolves' speed versus bear's brute strength. The wolves have numbers on their side and work as a pack. They bait the bear, pushing him away from the carcass. He turns constantly, so no one can get in behind him. This dancing bear has the moves, but no longer has the moose. He may be outnumbered, but this hungry bear isn't going to give up without a fight. Neither side backs down. A young brown bear is hijacking this wolf pack's moose. Both parties just want to eat in peace. But that just doesn't happen. The bear is outnumbered and risks his life for another mouthful of moose. The pack of 5 wolves can easily outlast the bear. Their plan is to exhaust him. Incredibly, the bitter enemies, tired of fighting each other, sit down together. Hunger makes strange bedfellows. Lions are the royalty of the savannah, the apex predator. On a good day, only 1 out of 3 hunts work. That means sometimes they have to go after the biggest game of all, the Cape buffalo. They've been at each other's throats for thousands of years. This pride of lions hasn't eaten in days. Game is scarce. A buffalo would be the answer to their prayers. But high reward comes with high risks. Buffalo can look after themselves and each other. The younger and weaker animals are kept in the middle of the herd, protected by the bigger and stronger bulls. The pride's only hope is to isolate a vulnerable animal away from these guards. The lions go for it. And in the confusion, one bull is left alone. She can't take down this one-ton buffalo on her own. And he's ready to charge. But two large males lend a hand. The buffalo turns and runs. A buffalo's hide is thicker than a rhino's. He's not done yet. His only hope is to keep moving so he can buck the lions off his back. Lions' front paws have 4 backward-facing retractable claws, and a 5th dew claw that acts like a thumb holding down prey. So as the buffalo tries to shift the lion off his back, the lion only deepens his hold. If he wants to survive, the buffalo has to stay standing. The herd doesn't charge, not wanting to take on a whole pride of hungry lions. The pride finally brings the buffalo down. It looks like they can finally eat. A hungry lioness from another pride does the unthinkable. She walks straight into their territory and up to their catch. This is a daring move. And the pride won't take it lying down. After days without eating, these lions bring down a huge slab of beef. A hungry lioness from another pride approaches. This is going to be the mother of all catfights. In the confusion, one lion tries to keep the peace by separating the females. Big mistake. Meanwhile, remember that buffalo? The lion's first dinner in days is getting away. If he can just make it up that bank. The fate of thousands can depend on the outcome of a single fight. Under the mighty peak of Mount Kenya, a powerful killer queen is about to begin her reign. An acacia tree holds a nest of African honeybees, commonly known as killer bees. Even elephants give killer bees a very wide berth. Bees have nothing to fear from lions. The threat to their existence comes from within the hive. Their ruler is dead. Without her eggs, the colony won't survive. The race is on for a successor. The worker bees prepare 5 new queen cells. To ensure the continued strength of the colony, the occupants of these cells will fight. The strongest will become their queen. Finally, the first virgin queen emerges. She's had a head start, usually an advantage. In the next cell, another royal is ready. Now, 2 would-be queens will battle to rule the colony. The winning queen will command every bee in the hive with pheromone chemical signals. The 2 would-be rulers use these same pheromones to find each other. One is about to rule. The other, about to die. The queen that emerged first makes a surprise move, pulling her rival onto the hive floor. The competing monarchs wrestle with their legs and mandibles. They maneuver to get in a sting. Bee stings paralyze their victim. Unlike the worker bees, which have barbed stingers, the queen stingers are smooth, meaning they can be used multiple times. Its sole purpose is to kill their sisters. One sting to paralyze, then repeated stings until death. Each looks for their opponent's weakest spot, the abdomen. The younger princess breaks through the membrane. The firstborn is moments from death. The victor stings her again and again. Her life lasted barely an hour. The victorious Virgin Queen now finishes off the other would-be queens, dispatching each with a sting. Then she will mate. All being well, she will rule for up to 5 years. And the colony lives on. When you're on every predator's menu, picking a partner that protects you is a life-or-death decision. For the Ugandan Kaw, courtship takes place in the fighting grounds known as Leks, where males battle for the right to hold center stage. The females are after the strongest buck, who can hold the middle of the lek. He will offer the best protection from predators. Without a prime spot near the center, any male's hope of wooing a female are greatly reduced. This male is the current owner of the prime position. An ambitious young buck thinks he has challenge-worthy horns. They circle one another, sizing each other up. With their rights to create a bloodline at stake, only one will win. These two Ugandan cob antelope are dueling for a prime spot in the middle of their mating ground, known as the Lek. The contest catches the eye of the females, who will mate with the winner. Despite their elegant movements, there's no chivalry when these two cross swords. They watch every move, waiting for an opening, so they can do some serious damage with their horns. The cob have unique S-shaped horns over 1 foot long that curve sharply backwards and then up again. These fearsome weapons can easily tear open a throat. This ruckus goes on for most of the day, and neither opponent lands a mortal blow. Finally, the reigning champion sees his chance. Twisting his rival's neck, he hooks his horn into the chin. Now he could tear open his throat. But he misses his chance. The contender squares up for another charge. Both animals have little left in the tank. The challenger makes a run for it. But the champion intends to pay this young buck a lesson. It's a parting shot. And he's gone. For the king of this Lek, winning the battle sends a clear message to other contenders. If you're gonna come at the king, you'd better not miss. This is the southern tip of Africa, home to a colony of African penguins. Thousands descend on this beach to breed. Penguins don't like to build their nest too close to other couples, so personal space is at a premium. Things can get rough. The first job for a penguin is to find a mate. 80 to 90% of mating couples stay together for life. So this adult male is pulling out all the stops for his chosen one. He shows her all of his best moves. A bit of fancy footwork. Some fancy tail wagging. And it works. Next, location, location, location. The ideal nest is close to the sea, so the commute to go fishing is short. And it's got to be secure, protecting their young from predators like seagulls. This overzealous young male digs straight into his neighbor's burrow. Collapsing both burrows. His neighbor is furious and flips out. They rain wings down on each other, exchanging up to 5 blows a second. Their thick blubber helps protect vital organs from the pummeling. The new guy fights dirty now, using his razor-sharp beak to try and gouge his opponent's eyes out. Without his eyes, the penguin won't be able to hunt or to spot predators. And old neighbor knows when he's beaten. A throaty victory call tells all that life is sweet for love's young dream. Finally have their first flipper on the property ladder. The tragic former resident swiftly leaves the bit of beach he used to call home. If the beach gets animals all hot and bothered, the wind and the snow of North America does nothing to cool tempers. This skunk and this possum are fighting it out over a burrow under a house. A home they both believe to be theirs. It's a vicious street fight. Both have formidable tools at their disposal. The possum has 50 razor-sharp teeth, the most of any North American mammal, capable of inflicting multiple severe lacerations. For his part, the skunk has his legendary defensive spray, composed of a mixture of sulfurous chemicals so foul-smelling, they will send an enemy 10 times his size running for the hills. It's his weapon of last resort. He's dominating this fight, fair and square. This would be a good time for the possum to run, if he could. His opposable thumbs are evolved to climb his way out of danger, not run in this wide-open arena. He's exposed. It's time for the possum's plan B. He plays possum. Lying completely motionless, he's in a catatonic state. He's pretending to throw the fight, until the skunk turns his back. It's gloves off. The skunk goes for his face. The possum has taken a beating. But when he brings out his weapons, it's a game changer. This skunk and this possum are fighting to the death over who rules the roost on this bit of snow-covered ground. The pulverized possum, tooled up with over 50 razor-sharp teeth, is taking one hell of a beating. Playing possum is a dangerous game and can slip him into a real catatonic state. This time it looks like he really is throwing in the towel. But having played possum before, is this another trick? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and you're going down. The possum is still in the fight. But the fight starts to leave him. Giving his opponent the count to 10, the skunk is satisfied the fight is finished. As the possum lays motionless, a murder of crows gathers, sensing a free meal. But possums are tough cookies. And incredibly, he's not only back on his feet, but he's back in the ring. After seeing the kind of punishment this possum can take, the skunk concedes and moves on. The possum can have the burrow. Some battles are not just for territory, but the future of an entire generation. sunny, laid-back California. But beneath the waves lies a battleground. This is home to the sarcastic fringehead. Only a foot long, said to be named not for his insulting behavior, but for his mouthful of teeth, from the Greek word sarkasmos, to tear flesh. His home can be a shell, a coral crevice, anything snug and safe he can get his fins on. He's highly territorial and will fight off anything that comes too close, no matter how big. The reason this fringehead is so aggressive, a female sarcastic fringehead has laid her eggs in his shelter. She's left the male home alone to protect the spawn from potential predators and rivals. 3,000 eggs to defend means the future of his bloodline is at stake. So when a potential home invader comes by, this sarcastic fringehead goes off at the deep end. The intruder wants his shell, but first he's got to get the resident fringehead out. Dad takes the fight into the yard. He needs to finish this intruder off quick. When he opens his mouth, the fringehead reveals his weapon, 75 razor-sharp teeth. He's not all mouth. His body is highly flexible. He's fast, agile, and can change direction in an instant. When two fringeheads go head-to-head, they're trying to intimidate their rival, expanding their mouths 4 times the clothes size. The biggest mouth wins. It's the intruder. Home Alone Dad is finished. He loses his home and his family. The intruder gets the place for a steal. And the loser's spawn will be caviar in the victor's celebration. All over the world, millions of species clash in nature's savage battle of survival. On land, in the sea, and in the air. All are locked in a deadly battle. Animals fight tooth and claw to win food, territory, and rights to mate. From frozen Scandinavia to the rivers of Africa that flow with blood, there are no rules. This is Animal Fight Night. Kenya. A young family of lions comes across an elephant's carcass. In the wild, this is a lottery win. But a deadly river dweller also gets a whiff of the supersized meal. A Nile crocodile. This isn't one of the largest crocs in these waters, but it still has some of the strongest jaws in nature. Capable of clamping down with a force of nearly 700 pounds, like being sat on by 2 NFL players. Step forward, Braveheart, quick to investigate who might have eyes on his free lunch. Braveheart wants the croc to move along. But Snapper is hungry. With over 60 teeth, twice as many as a lion, and they grow 8,000 in a lifetime. The croc's body language says it all. Come closer, and you can test my teeth. A croc will clap its jaws as a warning and if anything makes contact, they will automatically snap shut. With up to 30 teeth on each jaw designed not for chewing, but purely for crushing and tearing. It can even bite when underwater. The base of its tongue moves back into the throat, blocking water going into its stomach and lungs. Snapper could kill any of these lions with a well-placed bite. They go for the spine. But Snapper is protected by thick, plated skin. The baffled lions regroup. Spreading out further, Braveheart and his wives have a plan. Distract attention from one side. Launch a double assault from the other. Now the Croc brings out his big gun. Snapper's long tail could cripple a lion. A croc's tail makes up to half of its entire body length. Large muscles anchored at the base control its full range of movement. It's flattened to give a large surface area for propelling through the water. Made of up to 40 separate bones to give incredible flexibility, fast movement swings the tail as a deterrent and to club attackers. The Croc's jaws can snap shut in 50 milliseconds, 8 times faster than a human blinks. Braveheart and his wives can only risk fast, provocative bites rather than a full-on mauling. If they can figure a way out to flip this Croc over, they could rip open its soft underbelly. But Snapper defends himself from both ends. Then, a lion light bulb moment. Why fight when you can eat? While Braveheart and the Croc are eyeball to eyeball, the lionesses leave to check out what's left to eat on the stinking carcass. It's rare for two different kinds of heavyweights to meet in battle. But when they do, it's all-out war. When two of the world's largest land animals go head-to-head, it's always going to be a colossal battle. In South Africa, young orphan male elephants are being relocated to unfamiliar territory. Without adult elephants for role models, the young males become out-of-control punks. They target their neighbors, rhinos. The African elephant stands up to 12 feet, and that's just to the shoulder, weighing up to 7 tons, as heavy as a school bus. Its primary weapon, 2 spear-like tusks, grow up to 8 feet. That's only 2 feet short of a basketball hoop. Elephants are practically unstoppable. This punk is stalking its next victim. Not usually aggressive to other species, this rhino female has no cause for alarm. She may have poor eyesight, but she can still smell and hear the punk nearby. He casually pretends he's on a stroll through the bush. The rhino doesn't want any trouble. The punk hits her rear, almost bowling her over. The rhino swipes back. The white rhino weighs in at over 2 tons and has a front horn up to 5 feet long. The horn can be a lethal weapon. Made of keratin, the same as claws and nails, rock solid and anchored deep into her thick hide. Its large neck hump is pure muscle for lifting its heavy head, giving a powerful upward swing. The punk keeps coming. The rhino's horn is not attached or grown from bone, but is formed from fused hair that grows continuously from its skin. The punk slams into the rhino with the weight equivalent to 2 SUVs. If the punk knocks the rhino over, he could kneel on her, crushing ribs and vital organs. The rhino's body shape gives it a lower center of gravity and good balance, making it hard for the punk to roll her over. The rhino's faster and makes her escape. The punk isn't done yet and pursues her. This rhino is no Dumbo. She backs off and takes shelter. The only real safe option: quit while you're ahead, leaving him to find someone his own size to pick on. In nature, having sheer tonnage on your side can make you king of the jungle. But clashes can be relentless when you're up against your own kind. Scandinavia. Springtime. It's been a long winter for this lonely bachelor brown bear. He's woken after 7 months of hibernating, and he has an urge. It's breeding season. His hearing is good, but his smell is even better. He can get a whiff of a mate from over a mile away, and he sniffs his ideal date. Cue a charm offensive. Bears can see in color, and she has all the right shades. She is a bear honey, and other males are calling. Lonely bachelor will have to fight for quality time with his sweetheart. Like a graffiti tag, leaving claw marks in the trees is one way the males can mark their territory. But it hasn't put his opponent off. It's gonna be bear slugs and not bear hugs. In Scandinavia, 2 bears clash over a fertile female. There can only be one winner. They take up a standing position 6 feet 6 and fight like super heavyweights. Testing each other's strength out at first, then escalating to bites. and both have a set of 42 teeth. Using brute force, it's a serious draw on their energy, already weakened by months of hibernating. Paws are out, punches are thrown, but there are no boxing gloves to soften the blow. The same razor-sharp claws that strip bark can also strip flesh. 4 inches long, the size of steak knives, designed for digging and gouging, they are perfect for slashing. Big, powerful muscles are designed for sheer strength and speed. Non-retractable claws are always at the ready. During hibernation, bears will lose up to 30% of their body fat, meaning less protection from claws and teeth. The lonely bachelor comes back with a well-placed left hook. A bite to the face has gotta hurt. Maybe 7 months shut-eye wasn't enough for his rival, who backs down, weary and beaten. The lonely bachelor is free to get friendly with his new sweetheart. Many fights are over the right to mate, but it's double trouble when it comes to protecting the babies you already have. On the killing fields of South Africa, big trouble is brewing. From birth, newborn buffalo takes several weeks to run well. A hungry pride has taken down a juvenile. A bold lioness pushes off a large, disgruntled buffalo. The buffalo is 4 times the weight of any of the lionesses. But for now, all he can do is retreat, while they gorge on the kill. This young calf won't go far among so many hungry mouths. But it's enough time for the buffalo to get organized. They want revenge and have fearsome weapons. Horns 4 feet wide from tip to tip, longer than a samurai sword. These horns take 4.5 years to develop. Plenty of time for stabbing practice. The herd is seeing red. There will be blood. The buffalo mob assembles and forms a menacing wall of spikes. A herd this size can shake the ground at 100 yards. Like a slow, unstoppable tsunami, the buffalo wall advances. The hunters are becoming the hunted. The buffalo in the front line of attack are the best fighters, horns in tip-top fighting condition. With up to 1,000 in the herd, the overwhelming numbers could spell a bloody revenge. A male makes a hasty exit. He may have the experience to know what's coming. Sheer numbers scatter the remaining females. Except one. The bold lioness takes refuge. It's a bad call. The buffalo surround the rock. It's a siege. A lion's roar can be heard for miles across the savannah, but her pride has made for the hills. Time is on the side of the herd, but they don't wait. A second wave comes in using a pincer movement. The bold lioness narrowly misses certain disembowelment. She tries again, but runs into thorns. Third time lucky. She's lost her lunch, but keeps her life. In the wild, victory usually goes to the mighty. But having millions on your side is good backup. This army is a huge stomach, devouring anything it can overwhelm. Driver ants. The smaller workers create a huge column, while the bigger soldier drivers guard from the side. They have massive scissor-like jaws and a powerful body to carry them, over ½ an inch long. Stories from the past tell of unattended babies and criminals set for execution being devoured by armies of driver ants. Like all army ant colonies, they are ruled by a queen. Her brood, most of them female, can number up to 20 million, more than the entire state of New York on the move. Breaking off from the main column, a foraging arm of the driver ants, flanked by their soldiers, extends into the jungle. They must bring back food to keep their queen alive. Operation Unstoppable. But they come across a whole army of smaller underground army ants. They too are encamped with their queen. Operation Immovable. These ants are related, but their size differs greatly. The driver ants are far bigger, but in this encounter, the smaller underground army ants have vast numbers. Both colonies have the same objective: find food for their queen. There can only be one outcome: war. Driver ants love to follow, but hate to lead. This reluctant frontrunner surveys her battleground. Her soldiers are bigger and have superior jaw weaponry, but they are surrounded from all sides. On a foraging expedition, large soldier driver ants are battling an entire colony of smaller underground army ants. Using sheer numbers, the smaller ants go for the legs of the intruding frontrunner. Their primary weapon, jaws. But they're up against the frontrunner's huge chopping mandibles. An oversized head gives it equally oversized mandibles, built for carrying, construction, and killing. Mandibles are wide apart and anchored from the corners, giving a large bite radius. Power comes from large muscles that take up 2/3 of its head. Even at 1,000 times the size of a driver ant, an adult human would still feel the pain of these bites. A smaller army ant launches a suicide mission. She clamps her jaws over the antenna of the frontrunner. It's her most sensitive appendage, now being pulled, torn, and twisted. Around the wounded frontrunner, it's ant versus ant in a jaw-to-jaw massacre. Their bodies can tear apart before their jaws release. If this smaller army ant is young, its exoskeleton will be soft and easy to slice open. The front runner is overwhelmed. Up against too many smaller adversaries, the large soldier-driver ants beat a hasty retreat, taking whatever bounty they can for their ravenous queen. When the victim doesn't read the playbook, fights take ugly to the next level. In Botswana, man's best friend is undomesticated and ferocious. These are African wild dogs. At 80 pounds, they are the size of a Doberman. Close-knit packs can number a dozen or more. And every dog contributes toward the survival of the group. They allow their young to feed first after the kill. They are mostly nomads and roam open country. With incredible stamina, they can travel over 30 miles a day. Wild dogs are opportunistic hunters who keep the pack full with multiple daily hunts. They train the young to hunt. Today, a female apprentice is out to learn from the pack. Wildebeest is on the menu. But it's an ambitious target for an inexperienced juvenile. Males weigh up to 600 pounds. That's a V8 engine block on legs. The pack scatters the herd to cause confusion. They're attempting to pick out the weak, old or young. Usually wildebeest will run. But a brave male bull doesn't retreat. He charges. The apprentice has no idea of the danger she's in. A wild dog apprentice has a tough challenge: hunting wildebeest, which retaliate. Led by a bull, he charges at full speed and hits her at 40 miles per hour. She disappears under a quarter-ton wildebeest. Her loyal family gather around. The wildebeest smell victory. The pup is in mortal danger. At great risk to themselves, they scatter and confuse the herd to protect the pup. The apprentice has just been stunned. Wounded and dazed, she drags herself away. Her comrades give her the precious moments she needs to escape. She's alive and rejoins her devoted pack. The apprentice has failed in this task, but at least she's not been fired. Usually, single males slug it out for their bloodline. But when the females step in, the gloves are off. Swans mate for life. They may return to a favorite destination every year. And if necessary, they will fight for it. They may have traveled 1,000 miles from Central Europe to get here, Sweden. They can cover hundreds of miles in a single day, non-stop. Using huge wings, up to 9 feet across. This incoming couple are exhausted and want to claim their breeding spot. But their Scandinavian retreat has been taken over by another pair. So they issue an eviction notice. Hooper swans are among the loudest breeds. A long windpipe might amplify their call, which can travel up to 3/4 of a mile. The unwanted guests refuse to relocate. Head dragging in swan language means there's trouble brewing. And if the squatters refuse to leave, they may lose their love nest. The husband launches the primary attack, with his wife blocking any escape. Four combined wings raining down blows. Clawed feet help grip the ice. The neck is too big a target to resist, and they both have the bite to do it. The beak has serrated teeth-like ridges, both top and bottom, making easy work of ripping out the feathers of an enemy. A long neck made of 25 vertebrae is flexible enough to severely bend and twist an opponent's neck. Swan pairs make highly effective fighting teams. With the double assault, bruising and damage can occur on the wing joints, which could make flying difficult. The wings are in maximum overdrive to give thrust and leverage. Powering each blow, there are 12,000 muscle ligaments under its skin. 25,000 feathers cover its body, and wings that beat 4 times per second. It's one heck of a pillow fight. They can fly up to a staggering 27,000 feet, 19 times the height of the Empire State Building. It's a deadlock. So the wife makes her move. A pair of swans are evicting squatters trespassing on their love nest. Husband and wife work as a team. The squatter's wife hangs back, and it makes the difference. Meaning her spouse is forced to beat a hasty escape. He'll need at least 30 yards runway to get above the tree line. The successful husband and wife can settle into their romantic getaway, celebrating with a victory honk. Most animals rely on teeth or claws as weapons. Few throw their whole home at an opponent. In northern Ethiopia, the African spurred tortoise is a loner and lives inside his own armor-plated mobile home. He digs out a burrow to find shelter from blistering temperatures that reach 95 degrees. This reptile uses its strong arms like a bulldozer and its shell-breaking work. This shell is such a strong, useful feature. It's remained virtually unchanged in the 200 million years they've been around. Suddenly, Bulldozer puts his work to one side. He's cold-blooded, so happy to venture out in the heat of the midday sun. And he's on a mission. The African spurred tortoise has a sharp sense of smell, and he doesn't like what's on the wind. It's a rival male with equally big guns. Usually, African spurred tortoises are aggressive to each other, and this pair are on a collision course. If they are well matched, they will come to blows. Digger and Bulldozer square up. If there are any females on this patch, a fight will settle who gets them first. Like caterpillar tracks through the mud, they use their digging feet to plow into each other. Retracting their heads, the hard shells take all the blows. It's a battle of the mobile homes. The keratin shells are super tough. A 200-pound baby elephant could step on the tortoise and leave it intact. Pound for pound, they're an even match. They shunt each other backwards and forwards. Bulldozer breaks the cycle and comes up with his decisive move. By maneuvering the opponent's side on. It's a rollover. Victory to the upright. Bulldozer is free to landscape his grasslands. Using his curved shell to recover, his opponent will have to take a different route today. Cantankerous loners will fight when they cross paths. But just because you're sociable doesn't make you more peaceable. Western Australia. Giant marsupials have lived in the outback for at least 30 million years. Now they're moving into the lush greenery of parks and suburbs. And it's never quiet when gray kangaroos move in. Living up to 20 years, they spend a lot of that time fighting. Groups of up to 50 kangaroos live in mobs. Mob by name, mob by nature. With males constantly jostling for status. Two unruly males are facing off in a private brawl. trying to deal a knockout punch. It's a volley of kicks and slugs. Heads are flung back to shield the face, especially the eyes. A blind kangaroo could quickly die of starvation. With legs strong enough to propel them at 40 miles per hour, the kangaroo has one of the hardest kicks in nature. They carry 2-inch-long claws on each middle toe. The skin around their abdominals is 2 inches thick, enough to absorb a blow from a claw. And they have the ability to retract their manhood into their body out of claws' harm. Suddenly, a dominant male bursts in, breaking up the squabble. He's the sheriff. But it will take some ruthless punishment to restore order. In an Australian cemetery, the sheriff steps in to break up a kangaroo brawl. He deals out a punch to the face. The sheriff creates a tense standoff. Your move, bucko. One brawler is all talk and backs down. The other thinks he's big enough. Resting on their muscular tail, they can deliver a full frontal assault with both legs and arms. The sheriff has longer arms. It gives him extra reach. The sheriff's lightning reactions give him the edge. A powerful chest thrust is enough to remind the mob who keeps the peace around here. When this lawman says jump, the outlaws say, how high? Some animals don't need sheer strength or numbers for fighting. They use gravity. Madagascar. The island split from Africa 200 million years ago. Bizarre life still roams these jungles, including chameleons, with the longest tongue-to-body ratio in the animal kingdom, and famous for changing color. The technique evolved for display and to control their body temperature, not as camouflage. This panther chameleon is one of the largest. Clashes between males are common. Being high up in the branches gives high status. Claws and 2 opposing digits give Spider-Man-like grip. Unlike most lizards, wrist and ankle joints almost fully rotate. And the chameleon has legs on the side, perfect for climbing along narrow branches. Females live lower down in the trees, but the males will settle for visiting rights at the top. This high-wire walker also has super sight and spots a rival male, a social climber ascending into his tree. The first swipes are unleashed. With a large head-to-body ratio, their skulls make the perfect battering ram for stunning each other. Whoever gets whammed could lose their grip and drop below, losing their ranking in the tree. Brute nose-to-nose pushing will test strength and resilience. Claws on their feet give additional grip, and the climber pushes back. High wire digs in firm. Stalemate. In a cunning move, High Wire draws his opponent into a weaker position, using gravity as an ally. Their snapping jaws have small teeth, but incredibly powerful bite forces for crushing the exoskeletons of tough insects. Scaled up to the size of a croc, this chameleon would have stronger jaws. High Wire pulls another trick. That long tail isn't just for balancing, it's for lashing on tightly. All it takes is a few firm, well-timed tugs. The social climber doesn't have all the daredevil skills to give him the edge up here. He gets pushed further and further down. He's the loser. The victorious High Wire walker keeps his superior place.